Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. I'm here with Nitranina over from the Spiel Essen fair that we met on a Wednesday at the press preview show. It was one of the biggest shows ever, 193,000 people, almost a record, 209,000 attended in 2019. We've just been discussing about how busy it was and actually the fact that more space is there. So I was correctly informed that actually all of Hall 6 was completely full up. There were some wider halls, and we were discussing about our favourite games. I know that you, in particular, happened to find such and such a game of interest. How are you? And please tell me more.
uh, about the Essen Spiel or about myself
Everything.
now?
So we've had a bit of a
uh,
communications breakdown with the podcast not working. So recording as a video. So just catching everyone up to speed. Yeah, over to you.
okay, thank you. So I'm now having a lot of games that I brought from Essen and covering one game after another. First, making the video tutorials for the most wanted and the most anticipated games. I really enjoyed Kutna Hora. That's I think for me it's the game of the year. It was really great game. We played it several times already, and I loved every single play of that game. We also tried Nucleum, another anticipated game, heavy game, brass-like barrage. It's like a mix of brass barrage and these mechanisms. So enjoyed that one as well. I'm looking forward to play Even Fall. I made a tutorial already. It feels to me like 51st State, and that's one of my most favorite games
Yep.
of all time as well. Looking forward to the Septima and many other games. Uh, I felt like this year again we had a lot of great games, and I'm looking forward to play them all in the near future.
Cool.
And I have a good gaming group, and we try and play two or three new games every week, but also coming back to the older games. And I have to say, I really enjoyed a lot of smaller games. So not a big, sprawling 2 or 3 hours games, but also smaller boxes that play in half an hour, 1 hour, have a lot of replayability, but it's fun. So I'm enjoying these games as well.
Cool. Well, funnily enough, I know that it was a small box game that you mentioned from such and such, because a friend who I met over at the Spiel Lesson Fair, who's been there many times, he's just messaged me saying he's now playing Wind the Film from 2016, such and such a game, on a plane. So I haven't seen the picture yet. I'll see if I can bring it up. Oh, yes, there we are. A couple of trays, and there they are. They are playing
Uh-huh.
Wind the Film. So this might go out as a video. I've yet to decide, but I was hoping to get this across to Spotify and Overcast,
Yep.
Apple podcasts and Google Podcasts, etc. So yes, Court Nohora I did play back in June. Obviously, we met at the Czech Games Edition
Mm-hmm.
booth in particular on the Wednesday. I think Simon and Luciani were about to speak to at the same time. We spent about half an hour together, I recall, and had some photos taken, which are over on Instagram and Facebook,
Yep.
etc. And I also have played Nucleum, I think 12 times at this point, at all player
Wow.
counts except for one. And over at my Hexacon board game event 2 weeks after Spiel Essen Fair as well. So I know you're only there for 2.5 days. I was there for a week. It's my longest time I've spent actually over in Essen, and it was nice to kind of get a bit more stuff done that I wouldn't normally do. So that was really good. And yeah, so any other small box games that really caught your eye? You mentioned there was the Flip and Rights one by such and such as well.
Yeah, that was a New Boys game
Cool.
called New Boys from Sachi and Sachi. That was an interesting one. I love these roll and flip and rides. Uh, and Next Station London is maybe the most favorite of all of them. But I love Welcome to and Cartographers and um, now this New Boys is also one of the really interesting games, and I enjoyed playing it several times already. It has a lot of depth and a lot of replayability, and we have fun. It's simple, it's easy to explain, and it plays very quickly. I also bought these new expansions for Mindbug. That's another small two-player
Okay.
card game. Uh, I used to play Magic the Gathering for maybe 1 year, long time ago. I love the gameplay, but I don't like this collectability
Mm.
aspect of this game. And this Mindbug game really um, reminds me of Magic the Gathering. It has similar feelings in a smaller box, yes, but we have this bluffing and and other mechanics in this game, uh, laying out these creatures and trying to hit the other player and reduce the health down to zero. So that was another small box. I think we brought Fit to Print,
Oh yeah.
another small tiling game, nice looking and also interesting idea. Not all the people love the real time aspect of this one.
Mm.
Uh, and there were some other. I'm just looking at that. I am really looking forward to try out the Sky Team is called.
Oh yes.
That when you
Yeah, yeah,
that
that's
one I
sold
haven't
out. Yeah, I didn't
played
get a
it.
chance. I have played it online. I think I'd prefer to play in person. I did open a Now Boarding that I got at the Spiel Essen Fair. I
Hmm.
didn't get Quicksand from Horrible Guild. I know that my various gaming groups, for some people, so my wife had an injury and she can't like move her shoulders too quickly now, and she doesn't like real-time games. And I know I've played like Pendulum and stuff like that. I personally like them and Kitchen Rush, Revised Edition, and a few other ones. But for some people, I know real time isn't a big seller for people, at least
Hmm.
compared to other mechanisms. So yeah, I definitely appreciate what it does. I've got one behind me actually, Indiana Jones one involving the sounds of time and something, which does sound really interesting. But I know for some people it's too chaotic and it's not a
Yeah.
enjoyable experience, which I
Hmm.
completely get. Now, just to let me know something about the background, you've got a massive map of the world there.
Yes.
I know you mentioned cartographers. I remember getting that game about 5 months before it went massive over from the States, and I enjoyed that with the mini expansion. Have you heard of the game Knockmal? That's my favourite roll and write. I played about 35 now, and it's by Inka and Marcus Brandt behind the Village and the Exit games, so these German designers, and Raja the
No.
Ganges. Okay, so it's
No.
from
No.
Schmidt Spiel. I've
Uh-huh.
got 4 copies of it. It's that
Wow.
good. I've played it, I think, over 200 times. You can get an app version,
Wow.
and my wife actually deleted the app occasionally because it's too addictive for her. It's a 1 to 6 player game, very enjoyable. Everyone I played it with, oh yeah, well, let's play it again. It doesn't look fantastic, and the title means encore, which means like I want to go again. So if you see
Hmm.
someone in Germany at Spiel Essen next year, you can say "Hallo nochmal," which means "Oh hello again," basically. So I say that. So that's probably my favourite. But anyway, I was going to say behind you, you very much into travel, or are you interested in the world and geography?
Oh, this is another interesting story. When I started recording my tutorials 5 or 6 years ago, I actually started with tutorials on Slovak language. I never had any intention to do tutorials in English. I only wanted to help the Czech and Slovak community, and I was lazy because we have this game club, and I was the one always explaining new games to all the new players. So one day, as a joke, I said I'm going to make a video so that I don't have to explain all the games all the time,
Mm.
and people can watch the video. And I think it was for Splendor.
Oh yeah.
Um, I think yeah, it was a Splendor. Since then, I deleted the video because it was horrible. But the first one, it was my first one, and actually, I had a good feedback on that video. And I did 2 or 3 other videos. One was for the Small World, the original version, and people received it really well. And so I kept recording more and more short videos on how to play the games. And after 5 or 6 tutorials, I realized I liked making these videos. And when I really saw a person looking at my video and I heard my voice in that club that people are actually learning the game from the video, I realized that maybe this could be a way to go. And I bought a little more professional camera because the first one was really just a low end, very simple camera. And I recorded everything in my house in my small room here. And for doing the introduction, I didn't have anything better because I'm sitting in that room now. There's a window, there's a door, and there is a mess of games. Really, lots of games there. Messy. It doesn't look well organized. So there was no other way where I could do some intro. So it was the other wall where we have this. It's like a decoration map. It's nothing.
Okay.
Um, no,
Tunnel
no
for the.
special reason.
Okay, so you're not it's not like kind of a tunnel into whatever. You don't want to be thrown into it and find out, oh, there's someone's been tunneling through it or something without spoiling any well-known films.
No,
But
I
okay.
traveled a lot.
Hmm.
I through my work I traveled a lot, and I have to say I'm a little bit tired of traveling, and I'm happy when I don't have to travel too much. So
Yep.
it's nothing that I would be a big traveler now.
Okay. No, I do love to travel. That's one of my three passions: film, travel, and board
Hmm.
games. But through work, it's generally just been in the UK. And sometimes a boss's boss will say, "Oh, which hotel did you stay at?" And I went, oh, "Actually, I took an early train and just stayed in my own bed and came up on an early train." And he's like, "Oh," which he wasn't very happy with, even though it would have perhaps saved him money. Now I know we're both drinking tea. Now I mentioned I'm drinking tea I got in Germany. This is peppermint tea, loose peppermint tea, which is on its third and final steep. What particular tea are you drinking?
I have a black/red tea
Okay.
from some Himalayan mountains.
Oof.
Uh, I'm a lover I really love teas.
Yeah. Same.
No sugar, no milk, nothing. I
No.
love white tea and black/red tea.
Yeah.
Uh, Fantastic taste. And I had a colleague maybe 10 years ago, and this guy introduced me to a small company in Slovakia that imports these specialized teas, these specialties, special brands and special kinds. Expensive, I have to say, but really, really good, tasty. And yeah, he made me addicted to these brands. So
Okay.
uh, high quality, but really, really great taste.
Okay. Oh,
I
interesting.
never.
Have you played the game Darjeeling, which is also by Inka Marcus Brandt? I used to own it. I've made a video for that.
I saw people playing it, but I didn't have a chance to play it myself.
Okay, so at least you know the
But yeah,
designers.
yeah, anytime I see a game with this theme of making tea,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm interested. And the same for coffee.
Yeah, yeah, Colombian coffee is the healthiest. It's got the most polyphenols. So I drink Colombian coffee, but with no milk again, because if it's a good coffee, you don't need the milk. But again, start off with a gunpowder, onto a black tea, that coffee, and then a latte, and then onto a peppermint tea and red bush, which is the red teas. But for those
Hmm.
minute and a half, for those people who are drowned
Okay.
out by that, we'll get up to other games. So I know you play about three or so new games a week, and what fascinated me was when I asked you about your videos, you say you don't play the game, you read the rulebook and then do a video. Is that correct? Just
Yeah.
remind me. Wow, yes, I can't believe this because for me, the amount of different people I mean, I play it a lot, and when I play with various people, I do that on purpose because one person will say, "Oh, you didn't mention this," and I said, "Oh, well, I did, but I didn't mention you can't do this," or something like that, or I might not have been explicit because otherwise a rules video could be 2 hours long instead of 10 minutes or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always want to speak to different people, and that helps me as well. Partially, I'm not sure about yourself, but I like to give a bit of a review so that people have a little understanding, like, okay, compared to this, be aware of, which may be why there's a slight difference there, which I completely get. So, on to a few questions, which is something that I've done before with some YouTube interviews. What was the last game that you played?
We played Reds of Wistar.
Ah, by Simone. Okay, which I also
Yes.
played
Yeah.
back in June.
We played it. We played it yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I did a tutorial for it and I haven't had a chance to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And we tried it and I liked it a lot. I really, really liked it a
Okay.
lot.
That's again, it's really bizarre, really strange and surreal almost to hear that you've done a tutorial and yet haven't played it. I mean, surely you almost want to have your friends that you're playing with to say, or gamers, okay, let's go off the tutorial because that's the greatest example. I don't know if you do that before you launch a video to ensure people know that it's correct because, of course, with a video, it can be very easy to teach and accidentally miss something because not all, as you know, or not all rule books are great. I think we can agree with that. And I don't know if you have the components in front of you when you do the tutorials as well.
When I do tutorial videos, that's for me. That's a long process. I don't just sit down and explain the game.
Mhm.
First, I do the script,
Mhm.
and then a video which is half an hour long.
Mm.
Usually, it takes me at least 1 or 2 hours to create the script for it,
Yep.
so that I don't forget anything. That is in a logical sequence, and I play sometimes with these logical sequences to make sure that the things are mentioned in the appropriate space or in the appropriate chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I do the recording, that's hours and hours of recording. I mean, 3-4 hours just to record the video, maybe sometimes 5-6 hours. It's not that I would just sit down. Sometimes I do these, I call them live teachings.
Yep.
When I have the script and I follow the script, those tutorials are usually longer because when I do a game in a nutshell video, I try to create sentences which are short, concise, but complete,
Yep.
but without this fluff and other small sentences around. So that's why it's condensed, and yet it takes half an hour to explain all the rules. So when I do the live teach, it could be 1 hour. But when I make these videos, it's a long process. And when we go and play the game, I don't explain all the rules because many games have administration rules and some kind of procedural rules. So, for example, when we have a game and now you're going to, I don't know, turn something into something else, I say, okay, I'll explain that once we get to that particular action.
Mm-hmm.
And then I show people how to do it. So I don't need to explain everything. There is no opportunity to do this in a video. In a video, I have to explain everything right away. So that's my process. And I don't need to play the game because I counted it last time. Maybe it's over maybe 1,500 games, unique games that I played in my life. So when I read the rules, I usually know how the game would play, and I usually see blind spots, or I see issues, or maybe things in the rules which are not clear, which need to be clarified.
Yeah.
And I'll look it up on the boardgamegeek or just send an email to the publisher. And I make a tutorial, and only then we have a chance. Sometimes in like 5% of games, I have to play the game because there are maybe actions or situations in the game which I don't understand from the rulebook. Why would you do this?
Okay.
And once I play it, I understand, okay, this makes sense because of this, because of that. And sometimes I even say that in the rules explanation, that you can do this because it's needed for that or that.
Yeah.
But it's quite rare.
Okay, and you wouldn't normally email marketing. I don't know. Would you just email contact at typically for whichever publisher? Because you obviously have to wait for a reply. And with both of us doing videos which are relatively new, there may not be any forums out there at all. You might be the first person to do a video. So, yeah.
I either contact the marketing or directly the designer if I have a contact for the
Good
designer.
point. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I do. Usually market whoever is the person that I'm communicating with. So it's someone from the publisher.
Cool.
Sometimes it's directly the owner or the publisher himself, and they direct me to the designer of the game or connect me with the designer.
Yeah. Well, I'm very much a fanboy when it comes to spending time with designers because I like a bottle of wine or a good tea. If you know what's good, you know you get a good game. Typically, doesn't always often work, but that was it. So, in terms of what games you've played the most, I mentioned Nockmao is one of mine. What is the most played of all these questions? Again, you haven't been any kind of indication of what these questions may be, but what is your most played game, if you can recall what that may well be?
Very easily, it's Azul, because that's definitely the most played game that we play with my wife.
Okay.
We played it over 250 times, maybe. I hate it, and I still like it when we play it.
Okay.
Because it's fast, it's easy, and she likes to play games that take maybe 15-20 minutes. She also likes quadruple. Not quadruple. I think Quadrupolis is the old. That game. She's not too much into gaming, but she likes the components of Azul and the simplicity and a quick, relaxing 1 or 2 games, and that's pretty much it. So this is definitely the most played game of my life.
Okay, so I've played 110 plays of Azul, Master Chocolatier 3 plays, Special Factories Promo 6, Queen's Garden 4, Summer Pavilion 9, Joker Tiles 5, Stained Glass of Sintra 2, and I think there's some others. But I do hear some people say 250, and actually they look into it and go, oh, it's about 80 maybe. But it sounds like, I mean, I know I play it before breakfast, and I know my wife and I would do that. And Michael Kiesling, the designer, he plays it with his wife before breakfast as well. Um, and it wouldn't be the same if it was cardboard tiles, if it wasn't plastic. If
Yeah.
they, so that makes a big difference. And my fastest game is 9 minutes 44. So
Wow.
that's the fastest we've.
You keep the detailed stats.
I love my data, absolutely. Yeah, that's my other passion. So, what would you say is your most overrated game? Either, i.e., what do you think is overrated, but also what do you think you would give a game that is also underrated? I guess I'm getting at. So, what game do you think everyone loves, and you think I don't like that? But also, what game is the other way around?
Easy answer: Terraforming Mars.
Okay.
I hate that game.
Okay.
I always say I very much enjoy playing Terraforming Mars for 1 hour.
Mhm.
The second hour I suffer a lot. The third hour into the gameplay, I'm jumping out of the window. That's how I feel. So, um, it's a good game, but for what it does, it's just for me it's extremely long, and we have so many people around me and in my gaming group that who love Terraforming Mars, and many other people love Terraforming Mars. I would say I don't want to play that game, never ever. So easy answer for me.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's very highly rated. I don't necessarily disagree. I know my first game I wasn't up for playing it again, and just so happened there's a chance that when all right, well, it's either this or another terrible game or whatever. So I played it again. The third time I played it, I thought actually drafting. I don't know if you try it with drafting. It adds on 50 minutes, but it's really good with drafting. Have you played it with drafting? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we have a person in our gaming group who loves all the expansions,
Mm.
and he has many of them.
Yep.
And I played. I remember my very last game of Terraforming Mars, which took about 3.5 hours or almost 4 hours.
Yeah, I've had longer
And
ones.
that's when yeah, that's when I said never ever. I
I
don't
think
want to
five
see
and a
this
half
game.
is my record for that one.
Wow.
That was 4 new players. I actually won at least, which would make a bit of a difference. I haven't played it since. So what about underrated? What game do you think everybody should like that you particularly love a lot, which other people in general don't seem to want to play, or haven't got given it a great rating? If you can think of one.
Here, another easy answer for me. I think all the Splotter games, or many Splotter games.
Okay.
I love their games. I love Buzz. I love Food Chain Magnate. I love the the Great Zimbabwe
Zimbabwe.
is the
Yep.
name. Uh, for a while, I had that game as my top two of all times, top second game of all times, and I don't see that much love. There's a small group of people who love these kind of games,
Mm.
or this particular game, but not that many. And there is another group of the 18xx games. That's a
Mhm.
whole family of games, train games, which I personally love, but many other people. I know those are long games.
Yep.
I know, but uh, the the basic simplicity of the mechanics there and the dynamics of the game, I just love it. I'm just the only person in my gaming group who likes that. So
Okay, fair enough. So, Great Zimbabwe, I nearly played in a pub in London, but I was waiting, and the pub wasn't as good as I hoped it would be, and I didn't want to hang around and other opportunities to game elsewhere, so didn't get a chance for these people to turn up if they even did. But now I need to know, what is this number one game if Great Zimbabwe was going to be on saying coming number two?
yeah, my number one for quite a few years is PAX Premier Second Edition.
Ah, okay, with a lovely
Yeah.
cloth. And that was going to come on to the next question, which is a favourite game. So that happens to be this one, is it? Or and why?
Yes.
Okay.
PAX Premier. Why? For the depth it provides, simplicity. I mean, the second edition, the first one was quite complicated, but the second edition, uh, when I played the game for the first time, I was intrigued, and I saw that there's a lot more in the game that we saw on our first play.
Mhm.
Then we played it a second, third, fourth, fifth time, and even during the fifth game, I still kept discovering some nuances, and it was like layers of onion going to the center of all that pleasure of the game, and I just loved. I loved the game as a two-player game, three-player game, four-player game. Haven't played too much as a five-player game. but it also has a solo mode, which is great. But I don't like to play solo. But in all player accounts, we all had fantastic experiences, great dynamics. The way the game flows and it scores 2 or 3 times during the game. Sometimes the scoring causes the entire game board to be wiped out, and people start from the beginning, but with some of their cards already, some of their tableau, some of the cards in their tableau present. So great dynamics. It takes sometimes half an hour, sometimes 2 hours, so somewhere in between. We had always fun, lots of replayability, huge depth, and the rules are not that complicated. I mean, they're not easy, but you basically have 6 basic actions, and that's pretty much it. And you have to combine these actions. So that's why. I mean, we played over 30 or 40 games of Pax Pamir Second Edition, and I still don't have enough. So,
You seem very happy, which is great. So the next question was actually more for some publishers, but a game that you're most proud of, maybe from a video perspective. Is there a video that go, wow, everyone really likes this one, or you've done a job for a video and you're like, no, I'm really happy with how it's turned out. Do you have anything that stands out? I know you've deleted the Splendor one, but I don't know if there are either, maybe, or put it another way, is there a video, are there many videos that you've reshot? Because I'm getting it with the editing and stuff, but any videos
uh,
you're unhappy with, or you've been very happy with?
no, well, reshooting 3 or 4 hours of videos is just way too much. Sometimes I miss a mistake, or sometimes during editing I accidentally delete something which is missing. So then
Yeah.
I have to do a small editing and then re-upload the video.
Mm.
But the video that I'm surprisingly proud of, I would say that I'm proud of the video, but it surprised me how much attention it got. Basically, 2 videos, both of them for Barrage. One of them is the tutorial.
Yep.
Uh, Tutorial for Barrage. The tutorial is listed or has been chosen for Boardgamearena adaptation of Barrage.
Yep.
So when I saw that there were lots of new views, I realized it's actually coming from Boardgamearena.
Mhm.
So that was interesting. But I also did a video about basic strategy. Because we played Barrage quite a lot of times, and I made a basic strategy guide. What you do with your first, the executive officers, combine with the combination of some special ability, which ones are good for the intro or the early game, which ones are good for the end game. And it's like a 15 minutes or 16 minutes video, something like that. And I made it just for fun. This is basically the only strategy guide video that I made. My intention was to make more of them, but then tutorials are more wanted than the strategy guides, and I don't play games enough times to make more and more strategy guides. But I was really surprised that first Simone Luciani commented on that video that it's a fantastic video and spot on with many aspects, and then many other people commented that it helped them so much to navigate that game, especially avoid early game mistakes. So that surprised me. That surprised me a lot.
Okay.
So these two videos, and there is a third one for
Ah.
U-boot game, which I did sometimes, very early in my English video tutorial career, and it has almost 50,000 views by
Wow.
now. And I know that the rules have changed slightly, but I would never imagine that so many people play this game, so many people buy this game, play this game,
Yeah.
because I thought it's just for a few people, like 18xx games
Yeah.
maybe, that it's going to be played by few people only. And wow, it looks like many people like that game.
Yeah, no, that's very impressive. It's bizarre how people. I have no idea. I did one video of me opening a pack of card sleeves, and I didn't even sleeve anything, and it got 8,000 views or something. And it's just you can't predict what people want. It's very bizarre
Yeah.
as to who
Yep.
says who knows what game people want to play next. We don't even know that.
Hmm.
So now we mentioned Rats of Wistar. Have you played other games by again speaking about how great Similar to Shiani is? The games such as Tekkenu, which I feel it's like,
Yep.
and also Lorenzo Il Magnifico, particularly Big
Yep.
Box. So I felt
Yeah.
they're very similar, but I don't know how you feel about how you'd rank those three, if you have any kind of views on that, compared to each other.
maybe Lorenzo at the top.
Mm,
Maybe because it's a classic.
I agree. Yeah.
Maybe because it's a simple design that works really well. Then Reds of Wistar, and I'm not a big fan of Tekkenu just because I mean it's a great game. It's a good game, but I don't like playing it because it has so many interconnected connected mechanics that there is absolutely no way to plan ahead because so many things will change with the rotation of those dice that it's just for me it's just reacting to whatever is currently available on the table.
And only
Great
14
idea.
actions.
Yeah, I said that just the simple mechanics of rotating those dice around, from this lighter sections to shaded and
Yeah.
dark. Just this simple thing could be a great game itself. But there were other six actions and many other areas on the game board on top of that, and that just
Mm.
was a little more complicated. So I liked playing Tekkeno, but I would rate it as the lowest of
Okay.
all these games you listed.
I get that. Cool. Is there any game that you wish you had made or published? Do you have any? Do people say to you, "Are you going to make a game?" Or have you got ideas for a game? Have you play tested anything that you have created, or maybe play tested other people's games?
Uh, Many people ask me this question whether I would design a game, and I'm looking up there because I have a game from 1985, which
Hmm.
is about cycling. It's a cycling game, relatively simple game, roll and move, but with some clever mechanics. It comes from the socialistic area still, and I love cycling. This was one of my first games. There was another one, uh, which was very simple roll and write, and then this one, which was a little more advanced. And ever since I tried to um, experiment with some game mechanics to create an interesting cycling game, and I did some attempts, but it never worked. Mainly because I know what I expect from a good game. So maybe if I would publish that game, it would be rated as, I don't know, 5, 6 out of 10. But I would love to have 10 out of 10. So,
Okay, okay. So you want a game that is relatively complex. Now, the game in question that you're talking about isn't a game like Brighter, the jumbo yellow one.
I I know that game. I played it. Now this one is it's just called cycling. I mean, it's from,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't believe it has ever been published or available outside of Czechoslovakia.
Ah, okay.
Uh, it was made by a Tofa family. It was a game, mm, not just board game, but like toys
Yeah.
manufacturer in Czechoslovakia. And I think they have bankrupted
Oh dear.
in 1990, something like that. But um, it
Okay.
it had beautiful wooden components. But I always try to make this cycling game, which would be I used mechanics of using multiple dice, using the highest value, so a little bit of luck. But then
Mhm.
I wanted to eliminate the luck. Well, I experimented maybe for 2 years with designing something, and when I felt like it's looking good, and I tried to simulate the multiplayer game, I always found something which was broken, and then I gave up.
Okay.
So,
Fair enough. So you mentioned cycling. I'm a big fan of cycling. Obviously, Flamme Rouge and stuff like that done a great job.
mhm.
What about your views on games that you'd like to see more of? So we know that trick-taking games, people are saying no more trick-taking games. We've got years of them now. I'm actually
Mhm.
getting some arriving any next month or so. But I was wondering about: do you want to see more? You would like to play another roll and writes game, or what mechanisms, I guess, are the ones that you really like that you like to explore more games from that mechanism?
I don't know. Very often, we sit down and chat about the games that are being published these days, and we see that they're just mixing mechanics and that have been seen in many other games. And sometimes we make jokes that there is another game which is another, we call it like a schnitzel with pommes frites, another one which is different sauce, but still it's the same game that we have seen previously. And I don't see many. At least I feel like I don't see many new um, new mechanics or new innovations in the game industry. So, what I would really like to see is some of the older games being reprinted, and I see some of them, but maybe more of these older games being reprinted and brought back to life. Uh, because I like simplicity, simple rules
Yep,
with a lots of
agreed.
depth. And many of these new games, they take 2 or 3 hours to play.
Yep.
They have well, interesting fact. When I looked at my one of my first videos, uh, I did a tutorial for Twilight Imperium 4 in
Mhm.
Slovak language. That video has 32 minutes, and I felt like Twilight Imperium 4 is a heavy, complex game with lots of rules. So half an hour was like, wow, that's an achievement to explain it in half an hour.
Mm.
Now, 95% of my videos now have 30, 35, 40 minutes. And I've realized because there are so many rules in all of these games.
Yep.
I opened the rule book and I see 25 pages, big A4 pages
Yeah.
with lots of text, and I'm not big fan of that. I would like to go back to 1 hour, 1 hour, 1.5 hour games like Agricola, which was a complex enough game.
Yeah.
But let's say Agricola and things, games like that, I'm I don't need to see. So no more big, heavy, complex games. We have enough of them to play for
Yeah,
another
yeah, and we
15
don't play
years,
them as
maybe.
much, I find, as well. A shorter game like Azul,
Exactly.
you play it more because, yes, you can play Barrage, but you're playing that and a few smaller games. But those smaller games are going to be there more frequently. You won't see Barrage next week, maybe,
Hmm.
potentially. So, yeah, it does. I definitely agree that as much as I rate heavier games very highly on average, they're all about 8 out of 10 for me. There are lighter games that some I give a lot of them 5 out of 10, but a lot of them I also give maybe 10 or a 9 because a few of them I think are just really good and they don't outstay their welcome, which is really good. So, can you think of your funniest board game moment or most memorable? But I think the funniest first in case it's a terrible memorable moment.
Um, I remember that just recently we played Brian Boru,
Mhm.
the King of Ireland, and we had so much fun in one game because we I actually played. That was during our recording of a gameplay video, and there's a deck of cards because this King of Ireland um, he married his the members of his family to other countries or the other kings, and that's how he extended his political influence. And there was a deck of cards, and there was like 2 or 3 princesses, and the last one was a prince, and we were all uh, males, and uh, we were uh, climbing on that track who is going to marry that prince, and we made a lot of there were a lot of funny situations, someone moving someone else, and it was a lot of situational humor, a by making moves by mistake, moving different tokens, and mm, we have a guy who has a fantastic sense of humor. He can comment every situation in the game, and it's difficult to describe this funniest experience, because it was really situational with using the Slovak language words again, which don't have any equivalent in English language.
Mhm.
But we had so much fun. We laughed a lot, and in general, we have lots of fun because of various um, situational moments in those games. That's why we play board games. We have a really great gaming group with people who come in, and we want to have fun, and we make fun of ourselves.
Cool.
Like, that's
Same.
what we like to do.
Perfect. So what about memorable then? In terms of you said about like the fun and stuff. Anything that I don't know. Like, have you ever seen a table flip or a really bad table spill, or I don't know, a bird or a cat jumping on something, or anything strange that's happened like that that you can remember?
Uh, Actually, another funny moment which didn't seem funny for the participants of that situation. Well, it was in another table where there was a group of people playing Dungeons and Dragons game, and
Hmm.
they had created their characters, and one of them was um, a person full of secrets and stuff like that. And the player was trying to really behave in a very secret way and didn't tell anyone anything. And they came to some kind of a important point in a game. They discovered something, and he refused to tell people what it is, just because he acted as a secret person. And they had a beautiful argument there, and they had quite a tough argument, but everyone else had fun about what is actually happening. So yeah, that was strange, and I don't think that group continued playing that game. I
Okay.
think they stopped. But coming back to that situation with a little bit of time now, we really laughed a lot. Everyone around, like that player was role playing way too much for that moment.
Okay, fair
But I
enough.
haven't seen anything like flipping tables or anything like that.
Fair enough. Interesting. And can you think of a most stressful moment that might be, I don't know, a very memorable moment whereby you were looking to about to win a game, or maybe it was because, I don't know, a venue was closing and you had to quickly finish a game, or maybe, I don't know, it was to do with a victory, something like that.
Very easily again, another funny moment. We played Imperial Struggle with another friend of mine in our gaming group, and that was really a struggle. And we are equally good, so the game was very tense. And he had this Apple Watch or whatever watch it is, which monitors your blood pressure and everything.
Yeah.
And in one moment in time, the clock was saying, this watch was saying, your blood pressure or your whatever it is just way too high. You should go visit a doctor.
Wow. I've had the
So
opposite
we,
with what was it? Dominant species marine. And I was visiting someone's house for the first time.
uh-huh.
I just cycled there as well, and it went down to 43. So I was obviously very relaxed. But I had cats and they had a blind rabbit, and I don't know. Maybe it was just very relaxing. So that worked well. So that sounds interesting. In terms of game components, we've talked about Azul. Do you particularly like components in games? Do you particularly think that I don't know, there's something in it because I know that in Rats of Wistar they have cards, which I wasn't necessarily expecting it needed cards, but I don't know whether or not you particularly mind card stock or colours or whether or not a piece is deluxe. Does that affect your gameplay or experience?
I'm very much into deluxe pieces, I
Hmm.
have to say. Uh, Not that it would be necessary for me, but I like to enhance this gaming experience.
Mm-hmm.
I have maybe 15 sets, at least 15 sets of metal coins, different metal
Wow.
coins with different themes. Arabic, old Roman, 2000 years old, sort of 2000 years old.
Yep.
Um, this medieval, modern, then elfin kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
elfin kind of coins, and so different, at least 15 different sets. Those are just the metal coins. Then I have a huge set of let's call it realistic resources. I have collected them from all places over the internet. So I think I have maybe 25 or 30 components that are sort of realistic. So every time we play, we replace these resources with these realistic resources. And I like colors a lot. I don't sleeve cards too much, but I like colors. So every time I see a game which is full of different colors, I'm always intrigued by it. But definitely metal coins and realistic resources, that's something that I'm always looking for.
Cool. That gives me a new question actually. Do you have a favourite box cover for a game? Or and maybe your worst, I don't know if you have a worse one, but do you have a favourite one?
Oof, I don't know.
Or one that's memorable?
Here I don't really I don't know I don't know. I like a lot of them, and I wouldn't say that there is any box cover which I would not like. Uh,
They put on
Maybe I
display.
would recall something, but
Okay, so we can't see your game collection, but behind you, or in front of you, obviously I can't see
Mhm.
that. Is there anything that you can see that goes, well, well, just from the look of it, just even the corner of it? No?
I even like a simple design. So when I look at some of my 18xs games, which simply says an 18xs with some
Yeah,
train illustration, maybe it's boring, but
it's
yeah, I don't
functional.
mind it.
Okay. And so you've obviously been to Spiel Essen. Have you been many times prior to this year? And would you be
I
going
think
again?
five or six times. Yes, I
Okay,
will be going again.
cool.
For me, it's a. I would also like to go to Gen Con, but
Mhm.
it's way too expensive.
Yep.
Even Essen becomes quite expensive in
Yep.
the last years. But it's definitely that's a great opportunity for me to meet many publishers, but also to meet many subscribers and Patreons of the channel,
Mhm.
and meet all kinds of different people who love board games. So it's a fantastic community. The board gaming community for me is simply a fantastic community. Every time we are we go to any convention, we find great people with with this fantastic hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's nice to be a hobby and also something that we get a lot out of it too. So that's fantastic. So in terms of I guess going to Spiel Essen next year is next year. Are you planning to go next year? Are you planning to do you only normally go for 2 or so days or?
Yeah, we you know I have a full-time job,
Mhm.
and I do the board gaming and board game tutorials in addition to my full-time
Yeah.
job. So it's a little difficult for me to go there for a whole week and actually sacrifice my holiday just to spend one busy and stressful week at Spiel Essen, because
Mhm.
it's this is definitely not a holiday for me. It's a lot of work as well, and a lot of rush to get all the games that I wanted, to have all the meetings, and at the same time actually see what's out there. So yes, I plan to go there next year, um,
Okay.
and hopefully even the years after that.
Cool. Okay, so it's interesting. We'll talk about meetings offline. I'm sure we don't want to break the fourth wall with that one. But so yeah, I also happen to take time off work to go there. From a stressful point of view, I hopefully wouldn't think of it to be too stressful. Yes, there's a lot of planning and organisation, but I kind of love that too, and it's just nice.
Mhm.
And in prior years, I would drive like my car and then enjoy having a holiday afterwards. This year, I was with other people, so we're a bit more of a schedule, but it's still longer than we normally go. I'll be back in Germany, so this is being recorded in November. I'll be back there in December and January again. So over in Germany, having fun over there again for a long Christmas, New Year's break again. So in terms of your next game that you might be playing, do you have knowledge on what that might be and when?
We're definitely going to try Evenfall.
Hmm.
That's next week. As I said, we
Yep.
play every week at least twice. And then Septima is the game that I want to try. I
Hmm.
still haven't played that one. Uh, and there was another one which I just got here. I don't see it. It's hidden behind the boxes, and I just can't recall after full week. I can't recall what it was.
Okay.
Uh,
So
but definitely Evenfall. Yeah, Evenfall is the next one. And Jangwa. There is it. Sorry,
Ah,
Jangwa.
so even Fall had the opportunity to play on the Saturday evening at Spiel Essen. However, or actually in Bochum. However, I knew it was their first game, and in my experience, including Barrage, I regretted not giving a chance to play Barrage the first time because it took them, I think, a full player count at 5, I think it was, 3.5 hours, and I just felt that
Wow.
when you play a game for the first time, it will take you a lot longer, more than twice on average to play. So, and this other person hasn't played it themselves, the same with Evenfall, I chose to say to somebody else who I was sharing in a car with, do you have a game? And he was a designer of Seize the Bean. And he said, oh yeah, I've got this game called Far Away. And we ended up playing it 7 times in a row. And it was my game of the month. So, yes, I've played it 22 times now, I think. So I was saying to the others, oh wow, it's really good. And then, oh, okay, we'll play it afterwards. And they all wanted to get a copy, and it turned out to be sold out. Um, But I would like to make this podcast more about obviously industry people and about having it more with publishers. So, as much as you're willing to divulge in terms of meetings, now I'm guessing your meeting is, hello there, I'd like to make a game on behalf of your stuff. I like this game. Would you be able to say anything about the kind of meetings that you have? Is it about do you have other games in the pipeline? Is it about they may be aware of you? That kind of stuff. Is there anything that you can mention as to how you arrange your meetings and what you tend to discuss?
For me, we tend to discuss videos and video tutorials for the game or for the games of these publishers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they know my channel, so they are reaching out to me, and this is what I appreciate the most, that they reach out to me and ask me whether I could do tutorials for such and such games, and what are the conditions, how long in advance do I need the game, do I need the final version, or can I do it from the prototype, uh, how 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 long does it take to create it, what is everything included in the pricing, is it just creation or any potential fixing the errors, maybe any other types of videos, quick previews or something like that. So this is what we discuss. We also discuss which types of game I tend to cover, how do I choose the games which I cover on the channel, and then generally what types of games, potentially projects are upcoming in the releases of that particular publisher, which is obviously usually a secret information. It's not to be published. So whether I would be interested in such, because publishers sometimes they have bigger games but also smaller games, and for those smaller games I said, okay, this is just way too small, too light, too easy for me, or is a party game which I don't usually cover. So these are usual discussions that we have with these publishers. Sometimes I reach out to them to have a quick meeting to tell them that what I do. Um, but fortunately, many publishers know me already. On the other hand, I'm struggling a little bit. I have to say, because English language is not my native language, and there are other channels with who have native English or native Americans. Uh, then I can understand that some people would say, okay, I'm not going to listen to this strange accent, which is fully understandable. We all have this, even if in Slovakia we have many people with Hungarian nationality, and their accent is quite strong. They
Mm-hmm.
speak fluently Slovak language, but you can hear this Hungarian accent. And again, for some people listening to the videos made by these people, it's not so natural. They would rather listen to someone else. Similar, when I do videos in Slovak language, uh, people in Czech Republic understand them as well. So that's why I do videos in Slovak for both Czech and Slovak community. But there are many people in Czech Republic who say, well, I would rather prefer to listen to a Czech person rather than a Slovak person. So there, it's for me, it's quite sometimes quite difficult to persuade the publisher that I would make the video. And obviously, my channel is not a big channel; it's still something like 13,000 subscribers. There are channels with much bigger audience, which is preferable for the publishers. So yeah, these are the meetings that take place at Essen. This, at least for me, this is how it goes.
Okay, I know that 98% of people who watch my stuff don't subscribe, so that's
Yeah,
something I can always say to
that's,
people. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily worry because that's still a huge volume of people. So when you film a video, do you film it in Slovak first and then in English, the same segment, like you go to do,
no,
or?
no, no, no. Uh, when I do both languages, I usually do English. Well, I do English first.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's much easier for me to do the dubbing. So use the same video but translate English to
Wow.
Slovak. And since I work in corporations, and I've been working in corporations for more than 20 years, and I speak English for these 20 years, so
Mm-hmm.
it's easier for me to simply play one sentence in English, then
Yep.
go back and immediately translate the Slovak language. it still takes time. So let's say half an hour video usually takes 2.5 hours to dub into Slovak language. But I don't do very often both versions of the video. For example, just now I did the Reds of Wistar
Hmm.
tutorial in English. I'm not going to do the same one in Slovak language. The reason is that uh, I used to do it 3-4 years ago, but these videos didn't have that many views because not many people have the game yet.
Hmm.
Not many people prefer English versions in Czech and Slovak community. There are so many great games in localized to the Czech language that they don't really need to have an English version of the games, so
Hmm.
they would rather wait for the Czech version. Which means if the Czech version comes out, yes, then I will do a tutorial. I will dub it to Slovak
Yep.
language. Otherwise, it's just a wasted time for me, to be honest. For 200 or 300 views, or
Yep.
maybe 500, just to spend 3-4 hours translating a video. So I don't do it any longer if the game is not localized.
Okay. Now you mentioned obviously having a full-time job, but you also mentioned pricing. So surely you're looking to move into doing it full-time, potentially.
Yeah, I was, and I would love to do it full time.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I've spent 20 years in corporations, and I recently I've changed the job. I was literally burnt out in my previous company, and I got a very very good offer from another company now, and I work even more hours, maybe 1 hour more than I used to work previously.
What, per day or?
But uh, every day, yeah,
Wow. Okay. Okay.
every day. So but I'm not as emotionally and mentally stressed and
Okay.
exhausted as I used to be. But um, it will be very difficult. Yeah, it was my intention to go to the full time making video tutorials, but financially, it's whatever I make money with the board game tutorials. It's still way behind my regular salary, so it's not that easy for me to switch. And I still have many other things and stuff to care about. I just cannot afford to quit my daily job now and just do the full time
Yeah.
videos. I
I
would love to,
Yeah,
but
maybe later. So, well, obviously won't mention unless you wish to say to any publishers listening relating to. I mean, how long ago did you start saying I charge, or did you start from the off? People said, "How much do you charge?" Was it them coming to you saying, "We want to pay for your time," or did it start off that okay, sure, and then over the years you had so many people contacting you, said, "Look, I've got too many offers of people sending me games. If you want me to do a video for you, then I need to put up a paywall," if that makes sense. So how long ago did you start that journey?
maybe 2 years ago, and it was a little bit of mix
Hmm.
because there were publishers coming to me. Um, so I asked whether they would be able to sponsor the video, or they would ask directly how much do I charge.
Hmm.
There were videos or games which I really didn't want to do
Hmm.
because when I read the rules, it felt like not a good game. So I would say yes, okay, I can make the rules, but well, I would definitely charge for it. And yeah, recently, maybe a year ago, 1 year ago, I started charging or saying that I can only do the video if well, there are a few games which I do without charging because I want to make these videos.
Hmm.
I want to have those tutorials on my channel. But in many other cases, yes, there are requests coming from the publishers which make me happy, of
Yeah,
course. But my time and my capacity is limited.
sure.
And I have the contacts not only from the international publishers but also from Czech publishers as well. For the Czech, I mean localized games, so I have to balance it a little bit, and therefore, um, I'm I'm no I'm no longer able to be doing videos for free unless I decide that okay, this is the game which I want to do on my channel, and I'm happy to do it just for having the game for free, for example.
Cool. Well, I'm sure people can figure out what you've been charged because it'll appear as the. I know you have to like tick the box when it's been like a paid promotion, but could you give an example of a game that you've made that was free that you've done recently because you really wanted to, without spoiling it to people saying, "Oh, well, if I make another game like that, he'll do it for free," sort of thing.
Actually, it was for Kutnahora.
Oh, really? Okay.
Uh, Initially, we had this negotiation that I would make the official tutorial,
Hmm.
but Czech Games Edition, they have Eleni, they have this
Mm,
in-house
they do.
video
Baby Rhino.
person. Yeah, yeah, Rhino, exactly. So then they apologized and said, okay, they're going to do it internally, but I said I would love to do it anyway because people are spectating on the channel, and I tried the game at UK Game Expo,
Hmm.
and
Oh,
I
I didn't
loved
see
it.
you there.
Yeah, we were there, and we played Kutnahora twice. That's how much we loved it, and so therefore I said, look, I'm happy to do it, even though there will be official tutorial, and they were happy to give me the game. So that's an example where I did it. For, yeah, I got the game for free, but it was not sponsored.
Cool. I remember one company said, "Well, we'll give you this game for free or something," or I said, "Would it be you want a game for free?" And I said, "Well, it wouldn't be free. I'd be making a video and something like that." And then they said, "Nope," and they changed their minds because then they thought I was going to charge. And so, have you noticed that sometimes you would start to charge like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and either you get even more requests, so you have to start charging more, or do you sometimes find people say, "Sorry, we can't pay you again," and then they're trying to play like hardball and negotiation and try to lower it? If that makes sense, do you ever get into those? I don't know if you like negotiation games.
Sorry, the games. It happens that when I say that I will charge for the video, then the publisher says, "Okay, we are not able to pay," and I say, "Okay, fine, I'm okay with it." Uh, I have, as I said, I have too many games to cover, so if there is another one which is not going to pay, okay. On the other hand, sometimes yeah, sometimes we do negotiate. Yes, of course. Yeah, I give publisher my offer. They ask if okay, if you do 2 or 3 videos, can we do something with the price? Fine. So we do a little bit of negotiations.
Hmm.
I'm not a fan of lots of negotiations, and so in that case, I just simply say, okay, forget it. But
Table flip.
I don't I don't I don't end up in lots of these um, difficult negotiations. It's usually very simple, 1 or 2 emails, and then we're settled.
Yeah, I know some places have said, well, could you do a video for us and we'll give you an affiliate link and therefore you'll make money if it sells, whatever. And I'm
Yeah,
like, no, because they have to click the link and maybe they won't buy, but maybe they buy it
yeah,
later, or maybe they have a tool like an app on their browser that automatically removes affiliate links. So I was like, no, no, that's too complicated and there's just too much admin and you have to then decide, well, when are you going to pay me and whatever. So even though theoretically it could do very well, that for me is too much admin, and it's more about, okay, well, if you're interested, here's the situation.
yeah.
So yes, I wasn't aware. Have you been to UK Games Expo before this year then?
This was my first time,
Okay,
and
so yeah.
that's because we wanted to go to Gen Con, and it was just way too expensive. And again, a friend of mine, the one who was sent to the doctor by the watch when we played Imperial Struggle,
Hmm.
then he said, "So let's take a look at UK Games Expo. We've never been there, and we really liked it because it was smaller than Essen. It was much easier to actually sit down and play games
Yeah,
and meet people,
yep,
and the game area, the big hall
yep.
with I don't know 2,000, 3,000 people just playing
It's
games
lovely.
with
I love
hundreds
it.
of tables, opened until 11. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
fantastic. That's the only thing that I'm missing in Essen.
Yeah, so my favourite hall in Essen is Hall 3. My favourite hall in UK Games Expo is also Hall 3, which is where you play the gaming. So I
Yeah.
was there. I've been there every year since about 2017, and this year I was working in Hall 1 with asmodee.
Hmm.
demonstrating a 3000 scoundrels. I had a blue shirt on, but no, I didn't see you there. So, would you go next year? Do you know if you're going next year?
We'll see. It depends on how much holidays
Oh yeah,
will I have
your
remaining.
new job.
Yeah, this year it was in June, and I was changing jobs in July. So I said I'm going to relax in June, and part of the relax was to go to UK Games Expo to play games. If I have the same opportunity next year, I don't know yet.
Okay,
Actually, I don't even go to too many conventions, not even Slovakia or Czech Republic, because my time is well limited. I spend my time with my family and then a daily job and this board gaming tutorials job. It's a lot of time which I dedicate to board gaming. So the rest of the free time, I have to do that I want, and I have to do some sports to take care of my health,
yeah,
to spend with my family and friends. So I don't really go to conventions a lot. Maybe one or two per year, plus Essen.
yeah,
So,
fair enough. And I mean, which hotel did you stay at? How long ago did you book it for UK Games Expo?
mm, this this good friend of mine booked everything. He even does it for Essen, so I
Okay,
feel like a VIP because I just pack my pack my stuff,
the
and
swimming trunks.
he drives me everywhere. He books all the hotels and all the transportation. But we lived some 15-20 minutes driving from UK Games
Okay,
Expo. It was a small hotel somewhere in the country. I don't remember the name, but it was much easier for us to travel every day, some 20
sure.
minutes
And
by car.
you drove there to the UK, did you as well?
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no.
you hired a car.
Yeah, we hired the car. Yeah,
Got
yeah.
it. Nice.
But
Okay.
we flew. Definitely, we flew to. I think we flew to
Birmingham?
Birmingham.
Yeah, it's right
Birmingham.
where it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it was really helpful. Did you have any meetings, or did you play with your friend the whole time?
At UK Games
Yeah.
Expo. No, no meetings. But we had some meetings that were situational meetings. I met some publishers, some people, and we had a chat for 20, 30 minutes, like with you at SN. So, but nothing planned. No, I simply we went there to play games, to have
Cool.
fun and play games, and we met so many great people in the hall three in the big play
Yeah.
area.
That's I like
So,
staying. That's all I play in the evenings. All I play is in Hall 3
yeah,
until it pretty much it closes. It's just so nice.
yeah,
I had an ice cream there as well, and it's expensive ice cream and other things. And
yeah.
but £5 or £6. But I had a few of them, and that was good. I know you said you've been playing 2 or 3 games a week, new games. I've just had a look at how many new games I played in October. 46 new games in
Wow.
October. But last month in September there wasn't an Essen, Spiel Essen,
Yeah.
27 new ones. So fewer, obviously. And the month prior, 59 in August. Wow. Okay,
Wow.
but that was that. So far, only 3 new games in November, although it is the third. So there we go. Well, I think that wraps it up for now. I'll obviously see maybe about keeping this as a video. I'm not sure when I'll put the video live. I've got another video, as I mentioned, that will go live, obviously being converted, hopefully, to be an MP3 to then
Mhm.
upload it to the podcast. And yeah, anything else you wanted to mention or discuss before a chance for us to speak again?
Uh, I think that really thank you very much for inviting me. It
Welcome.
was also very nice meeting you at SN. We had a great discussion there as well. So always happy to meet new people and um, people who do the content creation for board games. Um, this is what I like about making the videos because I get so much appreciation from people who say thank you very much for what you did. You teach us so many games, and actually that's what keeps me making these videos again and again because it is mentally difficult. It is tiring. It is exhausting.
Hmm.
But that feedback from the people, that's a fantastic one from this board gaming community.
Yeah, they're very nice
So thank
people.
you.
And I know my
Yeah.
parents at my convention, my first ever convention I created 2 weeks ago, and my parents firstly said they're so polite, but also she couldn't believe how much concentration they had because they were playing for 11 hours playing board games in this church hall, and they just couldn't believe it. So, yeah, that's about it really. So, I will end the recording now, and then we'll have a quick chat, and I'll just check it's recorded. So thanks for now, and back to the table.